You had a horrible day today. You woke up late because the dog knocked your alarm off the dresser and it came unplugged. On your way to work, already late, there was an accident on the highway and you were stuck in traffic for an extra 30 minutes. Then, when you finally got to work, your boss told you that the project that you'd been working on for months now was scratched and would not need to be completed. On top of all of this, it was your birthday, and instead of being a 72 and sunny day like it was supposed to be, a cold front came through and brought rain along with it. What a shitty day. But why? What made it so bad? What made today so much worse than any other day? And if it was so much worse, what could you have possibly done to change the outcomes? What could you have possibly done to make it different, to not make it so bad? Well, nothing really, right? I mean, which one of those horrible things that happened could you have changed? Could you have stopped from happening? Could you really have stopped the dog from knocking the alarm off of the dresser? Could you have stopped the accident that happened 30 minutes before you even got onto the highway? Could you have controlled the weather and made it sunny instead of making it rainy? So if all of the bad things that happened throughout the day were outside of your control, were they ever really bad to start with? Are they really even bad at all? Or is it just your perception that makes them appear to be bad, appear to be negative? Sure, getting stuck in traffic is not preferable. Having a dog knock your alarm clock off the dresser is also not preferable, but it's not within your control. So why let something that is so outside of your control ruin the one thing that is within your control? And that one thing being yourself, your mind, your well-being, your behavior. I was first introduced to this idea through Stoicism. And if you don't know what Stoicism is somehow, it is an ancient Roman, originally Greek philosophy that in essence teaches us how to lead a more tranquil, peaceful, and meaningful life. I won't go too far into the history of Stoicism. I will allow you to do that for yourself, but some of the key players in Stoicism are people like Zeno, Seneca, and probably most famously, Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius being considered the last good emperor of Rome, someone who quite literally controlled most of the known world at the time, and yet avoided becoming a corrupt, power-hungry, money-obsessed leader. He was widely revered as a good person, which is rare for someone having that much power in that ancient of a time. Stoicism has helped me become what most people would probably consider an abnormally level-headed individual. I usually, or at least try my best, to not let these small things that typically really have no meaning long-term upset me or affect my mood. But the downside of that is that many people see this and sort of assume that I just don't care, that I'm just not worried about things that should be worried about. Stoicism has this negative connotation that they're all just these emotionless, disciplined robots that just feel nothing. But I think that is actually super off the mark. And I think, honestly, that it's the opposite. I think people who follow Stoicism are typically much more in touch with their emotions than people that don't. And the reason I think that is because they are so in touch with their emotions, they do not allow the negative emotions to negatively impact their lives. They just seem detached from the emotions because they recognize them for what they are, a fleeting sensation that is brought on by some sort of outcome or situation. And whether or not that outcome or situation was within their control determines how they react to it. Now, obviously, some outcomes are more preferred than others. I would be lying to you if I said I did not care if I was healthy or sick or poor or wealthy, or you get the point. It's obvious that certain outcomes are more preferred than others. But what matters is our reaction to the outcome. Some things are simply out of our control. A dog unplugging the alarm clock is just out of your control. The phrase that is used to describe this sort of frame of mind is called the dichotomy of control. It is really just extreme acceptance of the world and what it is. All of the shit and all of the glory, all of the bad and all of the good, the rainy days and the sunny ones. Choosing how we react rather than leaving it to the universe to decide. Recognizing that which is within our control and that which is not. The truth is, most of the disappointment and frustration in our lives is entirely our own fault. How we react to situations is entirely up to us to decide, regardless of what our subconscious might tell us. Sure, it's fucking annoying that you got stuck in traffic today. And in the moment, it might be frustrating, but it is entirely your fault if you allow that to then ruin the rest of your day. Yeah, it sucked that it rained on your birthday, but you cannot control the weather. So the fact that you're being a negative Nancy about it is entirely your fault. So next time you get cut off on the highway, rather than punch the steering wheel, flip the bird to the driver, and scream curse words into oblivion, just nod your head and think, that wasn't cool, and move on. Because A, it was not a personal attack on your character. B, the situation and the consequences that may come along with it are now past. And C, what do you have to gain by giving it a negative reaction? What do you hope to accomplish by allowing your anger to fume? Do you think they will reluctantly pull over after seeing your outburst, walk up to your car and beg for forgiveness, calling you the almighty, all-powerful overseer of the traffic laws? I doubt it. Now I know what you are thinking. If most everything in my life is out of my control, what do I control? What is the point? Am I a robot after all? Do I lack free will? Is my fate decided already? Is my existence just another pointless existence on the timeline of the cosmos? No, maybe not literally, but you do control the most important piece to the whole puzzle. You control your mind. You control your behavior. You can control your emotions. You get to choose how you react to any outcome that presents itself to you. You can choose to be the miserable victim that seems to have everything happen to them all at once, all the time, or you can simply choose to live in peace. You can choose to nod and smile and not waste energy on shit that won't matter in 5 minutes. You can let the argument go because who cares if you win? You can choose to let the guy pass you because you were zoned out in the left lane, not paying attention and going too slow. Rather than be mad that it stormed and rained and took the power out, you can appreciate it because it gives you a time to be a little more present in the moment. You can choose to see the positive in situations, or at least not give the negative in situations as much power over you. What I'm getting at is this: when you release the self-inflicted responsibility of events that are outside of your control, you allow yourself to be more grounded and present in the current moment. You can simply appreciate life as a whole because the fact that you are even able to appreciate it at all is incredibly unlikely, regardless of how much shit it throws at you. That's kind of it. I don't really have an outro to this. This is just something that has genuinely changed my life more than anything else that I've talked about or write about or anything. Stoicism as a whole, and specifically this idea of the dichotomy of control, has completely changed my life. It has made me truly a much more level-headed person. It's allowed me to become more responsible for my life and where I'm going and what I'm doing, and just overall more happy and peaceful and less stress. When you just take on the responsibility of the world every single day and every single moment, and you think everything is happening to you all the time, it's no wonder that you feel miserable and depressed and anxious and stressed out all the time, because you literally feel like you have the weight of the world on you. But when you come to understand and come to accept that you're really just living with the world and nothing is inherently good or bad, the ability to be more joyful and happy throughout your day is incredibly powerful and much, much more likely. Most of my books that I have about Stoicism are loaned out at the time, but a couple that I would recommend are obviously Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. This was a book, well, not really a book, more of a diary from Marcus Aurelius that was never meant to be published, but was obviously discovered, found, whatever, and has become one of the most impactful pieces of philosophical literature, like literally ever. So I would highly recommend Meditations. And then honestly, anything by Ryan Holiday. Ryan Holiday was the person that got me into Stoicism as a whole, and the way he applies an ancient philosophy to a modern world is extremely digestible and actionable and applicable to our lives. So Meditations, and then honestly anything by Ryan Holiday. If you guys enjoyed, please drop a like, subscribe. I'm going to be posting every other week, maybe every week, but probably every other week. But you can subscribe to my newsletter below and follow me on Instagram below.